Welcome to the Dissent Agenda. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Cody. We're just two loudmouths with Wi-Fi, a mic, and zero tolerance for bad politics.
Every week, we dig through the dumpster fire that is national politics, so you don't have to. From clown car congressional hearings to billionaires cosplaying as patriots, we call it out and call it what it is.
Then we bring it home, literally. Stick around for our Locals Only segment where we spill the tea about what's going on right here in Virginia Beach.
Because what happens in Washington doesn't stay in Washington. It shows up at our school board, our city council, and on our grocery bill. This is the Dissent Agenda. Let's get into it. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back. Once again, a lot has gone on since last we sat down. It seems like
every day there's something new to talk about.
Yeah, the whole government's shut down.
Yeah, the government is shut down. We actually, one of our part-time employees at the studio, he actually works for the federal government and he got his furlough.
I work closely with the government in my job. And so I have received a handful of I'm not at work because of this emails.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it a couple days ago, Trump said, which this is crazy, that some people were going to get back pay and some people weren't.
Oh yeah, there's a whole lot of question marks around even if troops are getting paid, which would be this, this 15th, Wednesday or whatnot.
Yep. And it's the thing is that what he was indicating was that if you are not a Trump supporter, that you won't get back pay. That's wild.
They started doing layoffs today. Thousands of government employees being laid off, and he was even talking about how he wanted that to be targeting people that don't support him.
I mean, I don't care what political party at this point. I mean, y'all, what are we going to do about this? This is insanity. When you're getting down to the president of the United States saying, first of all, can we just talk about that this dum-dum signed a law in 2019 that said that during government shutdown that all federal employees get back pay?
Yep.
He signed that law.
But now it's leverage and we're talking about a lot of people.
And we're talking about children.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of families. We're talking about, even when you're just talking about the military, you're talking about thousands and thousands of people.
700,000, I think.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of people. Many of them with families, many of them with children, and the paycheck for a member of the military is not this huge, vast amount, which comprises most of them,
which is the majority of the military.
An enlisted service member's paycheck is not, it's not a lot. And so many of these people are living paycheck to paycheck, as is, and missing one is going to have dramatic consequences on their lives. And leadership doesn't seem to care about that. Trump doesn't seem to care about that. And for any of you listeners, watchers, wondering what the shutdown is about, it's really hinging on the tax subsidies,
the tax credits
for the Affordable Care Act.
Right. So basically, when they're saying that it's a clean bill, like I see Congresswoman Kagan saying this, a clean CR, and this is where language is so important and how they manipulate language, because when they're making social media posts, they're advertising to you.
Yes.
Okay. They're not talking to you. You might think you have this parasocial relationship with this elected leader, but you don't. They don't know who you are unless you are involved deeply with politics.
They're presenting to you a highly curated message designed to get the exact reaction that they're looking for.
So they're saying it's a clean CR. The same, nothing has changed between the one that the Democrats approved in March and signed off on and this one. But that's not true. Because in July, on July 4th, the big
beautiful bill,
it passed. And so now in 3 months, at the end of this year, millions of Americans will lose health care, not necessarily because they were kicked off of it for any reason, but they'll lose health care because their premiums are going to be doubling. And that doesn't just apply for Medicaid, Medicare either, because private insurers,
that's just premiums across the board.
Premiums across the board. And so these tax credits that are that are scheduled to end at the end of this year, it's going to make a lot of Americans suffer because they won't be able to get health care and they'll have to get rid of their health insurance.
And so you know, the message being pushed out by the Republicans, I feel like maybe it's tapered off a little bit, but it was certainly the initial strong push was Democrats have caused this shutdown because they want to give illegal, undocumented immigrants health care. And just so, you know, everybody listening is aware, that's not true.
Patently false.
Patently false.
And the government website says it. Go to the government's website. Yeah. It literally says that federal undocumented immigrants in states with state money get Medicaid. Yes, the answer is yes. That is state, not federal. So the lie that they are telling you for the reason behind all of this, it's just a lie.
It's just a lie.
And if you have a problem with your state, our state, Virginia, allowing undocumented immigrants to be on our Medicaid programs, then vote in November. Okay, well, take it up with your legislator here in the state.
And in the midst of all of this distraction, ask yourself, just one time, ask yourself how every other developed country in the world has figured out how to provide their citizens with free health care. And we seem to still be sitting here arguing with each other about whether or not people deserve health care.
Correct. And the argument is they go to the emergency rooms. Well, first of all,
that's not policy. That's humanity. If somebody needs medical care to save their life, you save their life because we are humans. That's not policy. That's taxes. That's humanity. And if you're willing to give that up, that's something you need to be evaluating in yourself.
And it became a law in the 80s by Ronald Reagan because people were dying outside of emergency rooms on hospital grounds because they could not be seen when they went to the emergency room if they couldn't pay. If you can't pay, you can't stay. And that's disgusting. And so Ronald Reagan signed a law that said that you have to provide emergency care because it's being a good human. And so, again, at a federal level, this is not the issue. The issue is they're getting rid of tax credits that are impacting and probably some people listening. And I know I'm going to be impacted because my business pays 100% of our employees' health insurance. And I'm about to get my premiums or my premium notification for the year 2026. And I'm going to have to make some decisions based on when I get my premium amounts for 2026.
Yeah, and this very much is the Republican Party playing politics,
and they're playing with your live folks
right
now.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
But it's not their lives at stake. It's other people's lives at stake.
Congress is getting paid,
and this is another way that, in so many ways, you can see how this is manufactured outrage. They've wanted forever to dismantle the Affordable Care Act, and this is a great way to get everybody very angry at the current healthcare system when it just becomes too expensive for people to afford. And then they'll be able to use the outrage that they manufactured to do what they've wanted to do. And at the end of the day, we end up once again with more people uninsured, more people unable to access and afford healthcare. It's just so ridiculous to me that we will stand on this moral high ground while we refuse to
but not everybody because you have to feel pain to talk about policy. And I'll use a Republican right now, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene is pushing back against the CR because she, just like the Democrats up in Washington, understand what's going to happen. She understands. You know why she understands? Because she said it. She said, my adult children cannot afford the doubling health insurance premiums. So she knows that her children, her own children, will not be able to afford health insurance if this happens, if this goes through. The bill she voted for, by the way. And now they're like, oh no, the Democrats told us something that we had in there that we voted for, and now it's going to affect my life. And so I'm not willing.
Yeah, when you let them come for everybody else, they will eventually come for you. And that's what we're seeing. And they're using, I mean, it's so obvious. They're using the fear and the propaganda that they've generated against undocumented immigrants to open the door to come after everybody else's healthcare.
Correct. Yeah. And for tax cuts, this big, beautiful bill is going to add $4 trillion to the deficit. And this time he already added, not counting COVID, in his first term, Trump added $4 trillion, not including COVID. That was just with his tax cuts from the 2017 tax cut. So this big, beautiful bill does the same thing. So all of these people that say that they believe in small government and they're so happy about Doge. Do you know a report just came out yesterday that Doge has cost us billions of dollars?
Oh, yeah.
It didn't save us anything. A report literally just came out, I think, yesterday. It did not save us any money.
It was just a very expensive distraction to keep people riled up and cost a lot of people their jobs.
Yep. A lot of people their jobs.
Yep. And so now the government is working less efficiently. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and we didn't save any money.
Yeah. It's wild. And I don't know if they're still waiting on the cuts, but the doging is over, y'all. Like they haven't heard much. The person that's cutting things right now is OMB, Russell Vought, who's the he's the architect, you should say, the main person. It was written by, I think, 40 different people from organizations, but Russell Vought, the head of the
associated
Office of Budget Management or Management and Budget, right? The personnel people, and personnel. Russell Vought is the architect of it. He's the man behind Project 2025 that Donald Trump said to his face over and over and over that he didn't know anything about.
Oh, I have no idea what that even is.
Right?
Nothing I'm doing is associated with that.
Right? He puts Russell Vought in place, and now Russell Vought is the one that's been doing all of this cutting. And so now the Doge people are, I mean, they're still there, but now it's really just Russell Vought just basically just cutting everything.
Yeah,
and he did the riffs yesterday,
the quiet parts out loud, and Trump even posted on social media praising him being part of the Project 2025.
Yeah.
And it should be said, just so it's said, that the last time we had a government shutdown was also when President Trump was president.
Because they don't know how to govern. So we just, like, the Republicans can't even put a budget together. They just continue to do CR after CR after CR because they're not even competent enough to. I'm sure there are some competent Republicans that probably could, but Donald Trump certainly does not have access to these Republicans, because I believe there are Republicans out there that understand budget and probably could do a really good job with a budget. I would never say that there's not. I would also say that there's great Democrats that know how to do budgets, right? I don't care about your party, but your fiscal conservatism isn't just, you can be, I should say, physically responsible, maybe like instead of fiscally conservative, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a big difference. People like to use that like I'm fiscally conservative. Okay. Are you fiscally responsible? That's what I want to know.
Can you manage an economy? Can you help an economy grow? Do you know where to spend money? The idea of fiscally conservative, you have this idea of just not spending money. Well, not spending money does not build the economy.
That's right.
It does not spur growth and jobs or anything like that. It's, you spend money in the right way. It's like having a garden. You put your resources into the right places, and that's what provides you with the most yield. But if you just deny resources completely, everything just dies, nothing grows.
And it's shocking with a country so based around like the stock market performance that there are so many people that don't even see that concept. Now, my whole thing is about pie. I think one side of the political spectrum, they think that the only pie is the pie that we have. And the other side of the spectrum, like me, is like, no, we can make more pie. We can make more. There's more pie. You don't have to,
like if we
be so greedy.
If we get an oven and some flour, we can make pies for everybody.
Make pies for everybody. And also, like, money's made up. Like, y'all know that money's made up. Anyways, so I'm like, if we want to make something, we can make something, right? And when we talk about banks, like the banks, I'm like, the banks only care about your deposits. They don't care if there's $43.12 in your bank account. They care about how much money you're putting into the bank. Your bank is just a ledger because they care about how much you're depositing in the bank every month because they lend your money. Other people are borrowing your money.
That's how they make their money. They charge you for saving it, and while they're saving it and charging you for that, they lend it out to somebody else and charge them interest on them lending it out, or lend it out back to you.
And charge you interest.
Either way, they're using your money to make their money, and they're charging you for it, by the way.
And we're not benefiting from that either. They're the ones making the profit on that.
That's the killer part, is they're using your money to make their money, and they're charging you for the service.
That's great. But they'll give you a few cents in interest, on your account, but and so so the fiscal responsibility is really like what you have to be good stewards of the taxpayer money. And again, this whole thing about the budget is basically, this bill is getting run through. That big, beautiful bill got rammed through, right? And now the consequences of the Republicans who didn't bother to read the things that would not only affect their constituents, but affect them now.
Way too eager to do some gagging on Trump.
I know, right? And then they're like, yes, I'm just going to vote, in the toe party line. And now, like, you see people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're like, oh shit, this affects my family.
It really was a bad idea.
It was a terrible idea. So yeah, I really hope we, I hope that the government shutdown ends soon. I don't want people working without pay.
I hope that it ends soon, and I hope it ends without more and more people being unable to afford healthcare.
Correct.
I mean,
yeah,
it's good reminder. I tell this to my kids all of the time, and that is, if they wanted you healthy, healthcare would be free. If they wanted you educated, education would be free. We're the richest country in the world, and we're one of the few developed countries that hasn't seemed to figure this out, because we value profit more than our people.
Well, and then people don't want to pay taxes, and more taxes, right? And listen, I don't want to pay more taxes either. But okay, I don't want to pay more taxes either. However, for example, as a business owner who pays 100% of my health insurance premiums for my people, I would rather pay some percentage higher in payroll taxes and have my employees have healthcare, universal healthcare, because guess what? It saves me money. When I use Bernie used to have a calculator. He might still have it on his website, but there's a calculator out there that will tell you how much money you would save or pay if we went to universal healthcare, right? And this is based on taxes, right? As it turned out, I was going to be paying a little more in taxes, but my overall savings was a couple $1,000s. Yeah, I know people don't look at those things. They just go, I don't want to pay more taxes and I want all the things. But you have to look at it in perspective.
And it's a double-edged sword. First of all, I don't have a problem with paying taxes, because I do have problems with what some of my tax money goes to.
You're damn right.
Right now, like, I have a problem with my tax money going to, grabbing people off the streets. I have problems with my tax money going to troops attacking people dressed as inflatable frogs because they think there's a war zone. I have problems with what my taxes are being spent on. Absolutely. And those are things for a society we need to change, because I would much rather those millions and billions of dollars be spent on going to American citizens that are in need, on helping vets, on helping our disabled population, on helping our vulnerable communities, and providing resources to people in our society that are struggling and going through things. I would love for those millions and billions of dollars to go to that, and I have absolutely no problem paying taxes for that. I have no problem paying taxes for having roads to drive on, and for many of the different things that keep our community safe, and all of those things. Those are what your taxes go to. And also, it should be noted that if you were paying taxes, your life probably doesn't suck that bad as much as you think, because the way the tax structure is set up, if you're paying taxes, you're probably not living in an incredible degree of poverty like a lot of people that are avoiding paying taxes. Usually, if you're able to avoid paying taxes, it's because you make so little money that there's no justification for taking any of it from you, because there's no way you can support yourself. And so if you are paying taxes and you are upset because you paid, $10,000 or $20,000 in taxes last year, and that seems like a lot of money, be grateful for the life that you have, and the privilege that you have to have been able to donate that much to the overall betterment of our society, to our schools, and to the things that actually make all of our society better, that you actually benefit from yourself all of the time.
Go on, Cody.
If you have a problem paying taxes to help people that are struggling, you need to understand how we interact, and how as neighbors and communities and cities and states, how when larger percentages of us can afford to eat, when our children can afford to pay attention in school because they're not thinking about their food, they're not thinking about the clothes on their back, they're not thinking about a home that may not be there,
or unstable,
or instability in their life, when parents can afford to pay their rent and to put food on their children's plate, and then be involved in their children's schoolwork because they don't have to work 3-4 jobs. All right. Those are the kinds of things your taxes are going for. And whether you see it or not, because you're short-sighted, that benefits you. That benefits you. That's going to benefit your children. That benefits your entire community, and that benefits you. So acting like you pay taxes and you don't get anything out of it is just ignorant and absurd. All right. It's just that simple. So that's what I have to say about paying taxes.
Cody, I don't have anything to say after that, because you literally said it all. But I did go to a Tea Party meeting a couple nights ago, and their banner was, I didn't realize that the Tea Party till the other night. This is how much I don't know about the Tea Party. It stands for taxed enough already. I didn't know that. I did not know. So I learned that. What was also interesting was that I was it was a forum on the 10-1-731, and I thought it was hilarious that I asked a question as a business owner. And the woman that is, I think she must be the chair of the Tea Party. She's also works with us on the 10-1 Coalition. Great lady. She pipes up. She goes, that sounded like a Tea Party question. And I said, nope. No, it was not. And then afterwards, we kind of made the joke about, like, she was like, well, I mean, it could have been a Tea Party question. And I'm like, well, because we're not, when we all realize that this is a class war.
And that's what, and that's the other side of it too, is like, you can take away the traditional taxes the way they are now, all that sort of stuff. The money for the services and the running of society still needs to exist. It's still going to come from somewhere, and it's always going to come from us in one way or another. You get rid of an income tax, it increases a sales tax. You get rid of a sales tax, it increases an income tax. It increases a gas tax.
The money is appropriated oftentimes.
But the money's always coming.
The money's always
from
coming.
us.
That's right. It's always going to come from us.
One way or the other, that understand that we're going to pay that money. It's
right. And I mean, and I think I think that the appropriations piece is where the issue is because it's essentially how it's being spent. Like, listen, our defense budget increase. I mean, we're up to like $1.1 trillion in a defense budget. I'm sorry, but we have veterans sleeping on the street. We have veterans that cannot get mental health. They cannot, some that struggle getting approved to get their VA healthcare, the benefits that they needed. And so, we have children sleeping on the street. Virginia Beach alone has 700 what would be considered homeless students in the city of Virginia Beach that go to our K through 12 public schools. And
that represents hundreds of homeless families.
Hundreds of homeless families. And so it's just, I'm sorry, it's just unacceptable, right? It is just unacceptable to have a $1.1 trillion defense budget with the waste that the government, there's so much government waste. And look, the way that DOJ did this with the federal employees, I completely disagree with. I'm not going to disagree that there is not waste in government, because we all know it is. And when you're spending other people's money, which is exactly what federal employees do, they're spending taxpayer money. When you're spending other people's money in general, you're less cautious with it. Which is why with these government contractors that are friends with elected officials and put in their bids, and they're like, I'll charge this extra $50 million.
That's where a lot of the waste comes in.
That is where a lot of the waste.
That's where a lot of the waste comes in. Is money getting pumped into the success of billionaires like Musk and others.
Yeah, that's right. And all of these defense contractors and shit like that. So, and I also have for years, I have a problem with how much money is spent on Israel. They have free education and free healthcare, and American citizens don't. And we send billions and billions and billions for decades. We have sent that money to Israel. I don't want my tax dollars going to all of the munitions that killed women and children.
Yeah.
Government funded genocide. So that's the story for another day. But anyways, switching gears a little to the state, because so people who are pissed off that if undocumented immigrants get Medicaid and benefits like that from our state, let's talk about state. Y'all need to go out and vote. So we do have, we had the gubernatorial debate.
We did have the gubernatorial debate. And if that's what you want to call it, it was.
I mean, it really, it wasn't a debate. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard Winsome Earl Sears answer a question.
It's always a deflection.
It's always deflection to, trans people, or, it's never answers a question about what has been asked of her. Just, well, my opponent wants to do this.
Right. And just maybe we should get in the timeline mixed up here. So maybe we should rewind a week.
Oh, yes.
Before the debate, before we get there, because that's kind of part of the debate, right? So let's rewind a week. And I do believe it was like a week ago that the text messages from 2022 between Jay Jones and Carrie Coiner, who's a Republican delegate. I think Jay Jones was a delegate at that time. He hadn't resigned. Yeah, because he resigned shortly, I think, after his 2023 win. Is when he resigned. So he was a delegate, I believe, at the time. And which also leads you to just I don't know. Why are you so comfortable talking with a Republican?
You should never. You should never really be comfortable.
Right. Especially an opposition party member, because no matter how good friends you are, politician operatives it doesn't matter what political party you are. They're going to think of things as I'm going to save that and put it in my filing cabinet for later. Yeah. You never know when I'm going to need it.
Yeah. And the content of the text messages, that's definitely the criticism by a lot of people, and it's not content you should really be comfortable just putting out there. Now, I guess there was some talk about it being from The Office.
From The Office, yes.
A reference from The Office.
Yeah. And I mean, look, here's the thing: the Office humor is visual humor because it's a TV show. Right?
Visual humor because it's a TV show,
and there's dry humor in it that is that in context can be funny, right?
Yeah.
Which, this particular reference is it's Bin Laden,
Adolf,
Bin Laden, Hitler, and Toby. and he had 2 bullets, and Steve Carell's like, "Why'd put 2 bullets in Toby?" Right? So it was a play on
it was
a play on that, but it was dumb.
But
like, don't do that.
in the
like,
office, it's a state. It's it's something that's said in a show that everybody knows is a comedy and it's fiction and all of these things, and then you put it out, a very poor judgment at best to put it out there and apply it to real people.
To real people. And at the time, the Speaker of the House, which was Todd Gilbert. And listen, I think that guy's a shitbag. Okay. But like, we
still don't talk about it like that. That's not how you talk about it.
Crazy. That's not how you talk about it. Like, I cannot like your politics, bro, but I got to respect you as a human. You know what I mean? And a father and a husband, and everyone is loved by someone.
Yeah. And that's not how we solve problems.
And it's not.
That's not how we solve problems. No. And so there's a lot of blowback,
a lot of blowback. But then so it's like, wow, I've been trying to be like, listen, I'm not, he shouldn't have said it. I don't condone it. I don't condone political violence. Right.
No.
But the hypocrisy part is what's starting to piss me off.
Yeah. It's very hard for me to listen to somebody tell me that this text message is the worst thing in the world when they have not cared
about
that the person that they voted for proudly endorsed putting people in front of firing squads and have just
wanted to shoot protesters, and then when told that he couldn't in his first term, he said, well, can't we just shoot them in the leg? This man that would crush dissent with violence if he could, and is currently trying
to some of the most horrendous stuff I've
the violations of the Constitution that is happening right now under this leadership when it comes to our free speech rights and peaceful protesting. It's absurd and disgusting. And so it's the hypocrisy for me.
Yeah, like, and it's tough with the 2-party system. You're going to vote for this one guy or the other, and so yes, you're left between choosing between somebody that made some pretty poor decisions sending out a text message one time, or somebody that absolutely clearly has stated they support somebody that is honestly threatened to kill bunches and bunches of people and they never cared.
Right. And then also, like, Chicago, like, they sent a Black Hawk helicopter and they zip tied children to each other till 4 a.m. and separated them from their parents.
Every single person in the apartment complex, no warrants, no just.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? And so when you have an administration that is greenlighting zip tying children together and separating them from their parents before I mean, I'm sorry, but law enforcement,
and it's just like the
police, like, if you're a police officer, you cannot talk to a minor without their parents or their attorney. Like, this is
you don't get to just burst into people's houses, nothing. That's
right. Yeah,
blatant violation of people's rights and the constitutional. I mean, it's
so back to kind of the AG. The AG's role is to protect Virginians. He is when he sues someone, when he takes charges out on someone, it is on behalf of the people. And so when you have someone who is aligned with the current administration at a federal level, who is not their primary objective is not.
Mayor is here to enact Trump's wishes. It's nothing to do with what the people of Virginia want.
That's right. And so, and how that works is, right now there are other states, like states with Democratic governors and Democratic attorney generals, who are they're suing the Trump administration at a federal level to stop some of these unlawful things that are happening from the federal government and going into states, like, calling up their federalizing federalizing National Guard units, for example, out of Texas, and and then sending them to Illinois, sending them to other states. They're federal, like, these are federal troops now that you're taking from one state to another. It's
I mean, one of the National Guard officers in, was it the National Guard officer or was it a governor in Oklahoma?
Which one? There's so much. There's so
I mean, there's so much going on, but they're actually saying that they completely disagreed with it because.
Oh yes, I think it was Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was Oklahoma. Talking about how they completely disagreed with it because if Illinois National Guard was organized to go into Oklahoma, the people of Oklahoma would be throwing a fit.
That's right.
They'd be very pissed off.
That's correct.
And so Oklahoma's saying the same thing. Hey, if they did that to us, we would be flipping our lids. We're not going to just go do that to them.
Thank you, Oklahoma. Right. And so that's true. Like, I wouldn't want other guard.
Think of what we'd be hearing coming out of Texas if the California National Guard was going in to police Texas cities.
Shit,
think about what we would be hearing coming out of Texas.
Holy shit. That would be terrible. And so, and so the job of the AG is to keep the federal government in their fucking lane. Okay. And that is not what Jason Miyares will do. We know this already because he's done nothing already. And I look at this and I go, okay, did Jay Jones do something dumb as fuck and like terrible? But do I think he wants to actually harm people? Absolutely not. I mean, have you met him? I mean, Jay's a nice guy with a soft handshake. Like, he's just not. I mean, my biggest concern about Jay Jones, to be honest, I mean, I voted for him because I early voted before, but I still would vote for him even if I hadn't early voted because I'm not voting for Jason Miyares. Are you crazy? It's harm reduction, and that's how I look at it, right? And he's not. My biggest fear with Jay Jones is that he's not tough enough, that he doesn't have that fire in his belly that I'm looking for to stand up when an order comes from the federal government that is unlawful, and we need an attorney general that will protect Virginians, all Virginians, not just the Virginians that voted for the dear leader. So the Jay Jones thing, that's how I feel about that.
Yep, and that is the loudest thing in Virginia politics right now.
Oh my God, yeah.
Is Jay Jones text messages which then dominated the gubernatorial.
Yeah. Because that was, of course, that they were like just going for it from some, serious.
Just focus everything about Jay Jones and not about any of your policies that you don't even know what they are.
Exactly. Literally, she's like, I mean, it's like the whole like, the communists, that it's like, okay, you've been scared about that since 1954, Linda. Okay. Like, this is not, we're in 2025. It's still not happening. And so Sears just was, the other thing that bothered me about Sears was the way she kept saying Abigail. First of all, she kept calling her Abigail. And it was in this very condescending church lady way that was like, what are you going to do about that, Abigail? It was creepy. I didn't like it. It made me uncomfy. Like, it was really gross to me.
I know. It's Mrs. Spanberger to you. Put some respect on the name.
Respect on that name. You know what I mean? And listen, I'm not even super crazy about Spanberger. I mean, she's centrist, but you know what I mean? CIA, whatever. But I believe that Abigail cares about the people. And I would like to say that Abigail's response to saying what she respected about Sears was thoughtful and showed that she at least knows her. And when something, she's like, she's a good mom. And I think she really cares. That's all she had. Like, she doesn't know anything about Spanberger. And you could tell. And so that while she was sugary sweet, trying to sound that way with Abigail, it was like you could sense that rage deep down inside her. And it just felt so, it just wasn't authentic, right? Like that. And I think that's why it made me feel the way it felt. The moderators had no control.
No.
There was a couple times that Tom Shaw was using his dad voice to the best that he could. They were like, Mrs. Sears.
Will you just shut up?
That's what they wanted to say. But okay, here's the deal. Abigail centrist, great, fine. If that's what Virginia needs, then that's what Virginia will get. And I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is someone who is ill-equipped to handle her emotions and have some self-restraint.
And there was that highlighted moment to me too, where they gave the Florida Spanberger, and she asked Sears about, didn't you say gay people shouldn't be married? Didn't you say it should be okay for employers to fire people for being gay?
And it's not discrimination.
And then Earl Sears just kept speaking over, that's not discrimination, that's not discrimination, that is discrimination. You have no idea what that is just wild and asinine, to be just screaming that's not discrimination.
And she kept screaming about Jay Jones and all, she wanted to focus on that early on. And why didn't Abigail say,
do you endorse John Reed?
Endorse John Reed? Why?
Do you endorse John Reed, the openly gay man running?
That was the perfect
opportunity
Republican when she was talking about how
your
it's
party.
Not discrimination.
Do you endorse John Reed? I mean that.
And Donald Trump hasn't endorsed her.
No.
So what does that say to his base? He obviously isn't endorsing Spanberger, but he's not endorsing Winsome Sears, which I do find interesting. I mean, I can opine, of course, on why, but everybody's going to disagree with me and just be like, all you ever say is it's racist, but Donald Trump's a fucking racist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so just a quick aside, because you're right. It was like, oh no, you're just going to say that he's racist. Just a quick aside here. So the FBI been tracking hate crimes since the 90s.
Yep.
All right. Now, for many years, they stayed relatively steady. There was a spike after 9/11, of course, but they stayed relatively steady in like the around the 8,000 hate crimes per year mark. Interestingly, about 2009, right? Hate crimes began dropping in our country. And in 2014 was the lowest level of hate crimes in like 20 years. It was down 5,000 to like 5,000 something hate crimes. And then in 2015, a spoiled born rich kid, billionaire,
that's probably
came
never
down
driven, never cooked for himself, never done anything for himself,
never had to worry about rent or any of the things that he says he's going to help you
doesn't know how to pay a bill.
Came down the escalator and said he was going to make America great again. And we began talking about people in a way that we hadn't talked about people in our country for a long time. Our leaders like him began referring to people as vermin, etc.
The whole country.
And yes, and hate language.
Cats and dogs.
And people were encouraged and rewarded for being their worst selves, for being bigoted. Now, since then, hate crimes have continued to rise. Since the birth of MAGA, hate crimes have continued to rise. And they're now not only back up to where they were before, but now actually have reached the highest levels of reported hate crimes and recorded hate crimes by the FBI since they've been tracking them. And it's not a little bit. It's not, oh, they were at 8,000 and now they're at 9,000. No, we are clocking in over 11,000 and some change hate crimes every year now.
Wow. Yeah, that's really wild.
And also just other little bit of statistics, because since that time in 2015, white supremacist group activity has been demonstratively increased.
Yeah.
And if you want to look at, when you're talking about like domestic terrorism and the such, I think in 2022, there was somewhere around 170 something domestic terrorist incidents. And 50 something of those were by white supremacist groups. So like 30% overwhelmingly perpetrated by white supremacist groups.
Okay. So I'm going to transition on this a little bit because
an aside.
But I'm dying to talk about this actually because we're talking about Idaho.
Oh yes, and Mountain Home
and Mount Home Base. Okay, so and I don't know if people know this, but Idaho is a hotbed for white supremacy. There are more white supremacy organizations, known organizations in Idaho.
Yep. I lived in Idaho as a child. I have family from Idaho. And it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So yesterday, Friday, October 10th, Pete Kegsbreath, the Secretary of War, he can listeners, I'm rolling my eyes so hard talking about this man, but so he announced on Friday that we were going to be building a Qatari training facility at Mount Home Base, Idaho. Now, one would argue, and many people will say this, we train and we have training agreements and relationships with many nations where they come here and we go there. And I agree with you. That's been done for years and years and years. Okay.
Nothing new.
Nothing new. But this is different. The United States is paying to build a training facility for the Qatari government on U.S. soil in Idaho at Mount Home Base and Mountain Home Base, right?
Yeah, Mountain Home Air Force Base.
Okay, Air Force Base.
So they can learn how to fly F-15s.
So for the F-15s,
they will be buying. I mean, it's all attached to money.
But they are there. The 15 F-15s are Qatari F-15s on U.S. soil, where they will be training here. It says about 180 people will be with the Qatari government, will be at that facility. Well, this is just another example of what I don't want to spend my tax dollars on. Why are we spending tax dollars on the Qatari government? Was it their consideration that we actually spent $400 million giving the president of the United States a jet so that we could, so that then the American taxpayer, it's an offset? Like, we're going to give you this $400 million jet and then you're going to give us a training facility. Like,
they've invested.
Have we ever done that on U.S.
other
soil?
money into Trump's interests as well.
Yeah, and Pam
but no, I
was the lobbyist for Qatar.
While we have trained people on U.S. soil, I don't think we have ever created a training base ran for another country on U.S. soil.
On U.S. soil,
we have brought in troops from other countries and trained them at our bases, but we have not built bases for foreign countries to train their soldiers in.
And their pilots and I mean, and these will be, they said these jets are for the Qatari F-15s. And so I'm really curious how conservatives feel about this, like MAGA people feel about this.
There's a lot of MAGA pushback on it.
And then
because these are a lot, you
ran this first, right?
You ran this whole populist Christian nationalist campaign.
Right.
And then
new wars, right?
10 months in, you're building
a Qatari Air
Force base for a foreign government on American soil.
Yeah. And so and I'm like, okay, well, how's this America first? We gave $20 billion to Argentina. And then the president of Argentina was like, let's have a rock concert. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Like, how? This is not America first at all.
No,
I'm not an America first person. I'm just a people first person.
The American first people, it's so ridiculous that they would say that. They're so worried about wasting money. How much money do you think we've spent for Donald Trump to golf for like almost half his presidency?
And also the money, President Trump, no new wars. Okay, well, first of all, no, that's what he ran on this populist message with this, right? And that was one of the things that they would say. And I'm like, what does he do? He changes the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Okay,
yeah,
so
no
like
new wars, and you
no
changed
new wars,
the
you
name to
changed
the
the name to
Department of War, and now we're sitting off the coast of El Salvador, just blowing up every speedboat.
Yeah, Venezuela. Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sitting off the coast of
Just
Venezuela,
killing people. Just killing
blowing
people
up
in
every
international
speedboat that
waters. Nobody's doing
gets
shit
too
about
far
it.
away from the shore.
Yeah, they're just, 11 people on a fucking party boat. They're like, they're drug dealers. I'm like, what drug dealers do you know that have 11 people on a boat when they're running drugs? Sorry, brah. It's not how it works.
No, the Colombia government saying the last boat was Colombian citizens.
And yeah. And nobody's ever identified. The government's never, they just blew up the boat. It made the news, and then we're off to the next thing.
Mhm.
And I'm like, please, somebody like make this make sense to me. Like how Republicans aren't like, what and maybe they are, and maybe I just don't have enough Republicans in my life that will comfortably tell me like this is fucked up. I mean, that's probably what it is. I just don't have, because the only people that are Republican that I have in my life are people that are in politics. And those people aren't really going to be honest with me about how they feel about the Republican Party, because they know that I work in, the Democratic Party, even though I hate it. But I do, because it's a uniparty, but we have a duopoly.
They're a sports fan. They're not going to talk crap about the star players, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have enough Republicans in my life that aren't involved in politics to know what the Republicans are talking about. Do you? No, not you either.
No, not me either.
Damn it.
But
can we get some Republicans to sit down and talk with us?
I feel like there's, a shift in some areas. I feel like it's starting, because the support and evidence of the lie can only go non-existent, and can only, you can only be bombarded with information clearly defining that was a lie so long before you're like, okay, like I believed you at first, and then I was patient at second, but you know what? It kind of looks like you're pepper spraying people dancing to the electric slide right now.
Yeah. Okay, so can we talk about the frog? This shit's so funny. And now there's more than one frog.
Oh, there's a whole cadre of frogs.
There's a whole cadre of frogs.
The FIFA.
FIFA. This is just it's so funny. Like, and I just there's just part of me that like a lot of like people, Republican politicos, are just like pick-me's. And like they're just really upset that they weren't the cool kids, because like they're not. And so I mean, I'm sure you're cool in your own way somehow, but it's just that whole pick me energy, and I'm here for the level of trolling, like the electric slide and the frog costumes, because we're literally like, we can't take you fucking seriously. We just can't take you, like, you're fucking stupid. Like, what are you doing? And so, but there's some real violence going on there. An award-winning journalist was arrested yesterday, very violently. There's a priest that was, I believe, pepper sprayed by.
Shot right in the face.
Yeah.
Too,
well, one. Yes, but one was he was being pepper sprayed. There's this image of them, these fucking chuckle fucks that are in vans in their fucking war gear.
There is absolutely some instigation from the federal troops.
Yes, absolutely.
In order to manufacture violence and outrage to then justify more violence against people out there protesting and blow up animal costumes. And it should be noted, this is a good time to remember that this same thing happened in 1930s Germany, where they would send members of the National Socialists, the Nazi Party, into places like the more liberal parts of Weimar Germany, and etc., and then instigate and manufacture violence so that they can then run their propaganda campaign of, look at these violent people that we're going to save you from.
Black Lives Matter in 2020. That's exactly what happened. And people were arrested. Boogaloo Boys were arrested. People from these 3% groups have been arrested for being agitators. 94% of the Black Lives Matters protests were peaceful.
Mhm.
The other 6%, sure, there's some dumb people in every crowd, right? But it was proven people were the people who were arrested were not people who were Antifa. So
No, there is. I mean,
there is no. First of all, when
Antifa is not an organ. There's not even a website, for goodness sakes.
Can you tell me who our leader is? I just want to know, like, who's the leader around here? Because let me tell you something. The whole reason why messaging doesn't get done well, and we are organized in some ways, but not organized in many other ways, is because we're so much independent thinkers. Like the people that make up the body of the progressive and in some in the Democratic Party we're just independent thinkers, right? And we don't want to be, some of us don't want to be challenged in certain ways, right? Like I'm kind of, don't tell me what to do. Don't fucking tell me what to do. But yeah, we have a difficult time, I think, working together in the same way that like conservatives do, right? Because they have that church, because they come oftentimes that religious, like the church structure I've talked about a lot. I talk a lot about how the way Republicans socialize is based off of the church. It gets you in, and then your entire social network is the church once you get involved in a church, right? Same thing with the Republican Party.
And the energy and the goal is different, right? You have one group of people where everybody's just trying to be themselves, and you have one group of people where everybody's trying to be the same.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't want to be the same.
And so that creates a very different dynamic in a group, right?
But I can smell that, man, and like conservative when I'm around, especially like conservative women, like some conservative women are really drawn to me. And I always sense in talking with them that there's this, whether it's said or not, it's felt on my end by the words that they do say, that there's a respect there for me being who I am authentically all the time. And I literally give no fucks. I am too old now to give any fucks about anybody's opinion of me. If you don't like me, you don't like me. If you love me, I love you back. If you don't like me, I still probably would maybe like you. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people I probably wouldn't like.
I don't necessarily wouldn't like you, but I would still love you. I wish the best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you disagree with me, I don't wish ill on you. I hope that you have experiences that provide you with a better perspective on life.
That's exactly right. I don't like, but there's this. It makes me a little sad sometimes because of I feel like there's many conservative women that feel constrained and chained by the box that they force themselves to be in because of their social contracts, or because of their parasocial relationships, or because of their relationships maybe within their own family, that they're unwilling to be who they want to be authentically, because they may face criticism from people that they love and care about, and that's very painful, right? And so there's a part of me that feels kind of bad for some women who align themselves conservative, because I do feel like they put themselves in a box, and some of them I'm like, just crack open,
and many times are putting energy towards things that are against their own best interest.
Exactly. It's like, just push the sides of the box a little bit. Why don't you just get out? Who told you to be in a box? Why can't you just be who you want to be? And, of course, some of that took age with me, and experience, because I certainly was not the person I am today.
And understanding that if you're not being yourself, then the people that love you don't love you. They love who you've presented
That's right.
yourself as. And so, there's a lot of pressure to do things a certain way. I know I grew up religiously, and so I understand the concept. They'll be like, well, you should do it like this because look at how it's benefited me. And there's
and then you feel like a failure if you do the same thing that person did and it didn't benefit you.
Well, and there's also no understanding of the concept of why would I, no matter what it garnished me, why would I want to go through life as not being able to be me? Because if I can't be myself, and if I can't do the things that bring me authentic joy, then who cares if I had a good job and a house and all of those things. I didn't get to live my life authentically.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get to feel the joy that life can really bring because I didn't get to live my life authentically. And people will then overvalue these other things in their life because they gave up the joy of living their life authentically so that they could be looked at on society as successful because they did follow these steps and end up with these things that fit into the categories of making your life good.
Which is why so many rich people are fucking miserable, whether they want to admit it or not. Like, or whether they can see that they're miserable, because there's a lot of people that live in this existence of, they don't see how angry they are. They don't see how negative they are. And they don't realize that, like, the relation, I mean, that's narcissism, to be honest.
But there are a lot of people that are unhappy out there, and they're not connecting the fact that they're unhappy because of the way that they suppress themselves and have had to suppress themselves. They're into ridiculous things about themselves that they shouldn't need to suppress.
I know.
They're not connecting that you lived your entire life oppressing yourself and allowing others to oppress you. And so when it's not working out, no matter how much you have, it has to be somebody else's fault because you did everything you were told was right.
Right. You know how many adults, like, I'm not talking 20-year-old adults. I'm talking
50,
about 50-year-old adults who will tell me, listen, they will tell me, I can't get a tattoo because my mom or my husband and I'm like, you are 50 years old.
And if that's what it takes to break a friendship or destroy a familiar relationship, is that you
got a tattoo.
Or
maybe you should evaluate your friendships and relationships. Right?
That was not really that strong a bond.
That's right.
That you were protecting there.
I mean, what a great lesson this week, y'all, in being your. I love being my authentic self, and I do understand that being me isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you don't have to like everything I like. You're not me.
You're not me.
I'm not going to like everything you like. I'm also not going to make you feel ashamed that we don't have all the same preferences.
I was a high masking individual for a very long time, and as a business owner, it kind of dawned on me, we call it their representative. So when we hire somebody that comes in, my husband and I are always prepared for like 60 to 90 days of their representative, right? After about that, they've settled in. They're really comfortable. Some people a little bit faster. They let their representative go earlier and we get to see who they are. And sometimes we like it and sometimes we don't. But we just notice it's like you come with your representative, right? And so I started as a business owner. That's kind of where it made me kind of open my eyes to my own masking. And I have been, as I've worked through that in my like late 30s and early 40s, now that I'm almost 50, I just have dropped my mask entirely. And so I would encourage everybody to drop their mask as well and just live yourself, live your life authentically. And be yourself.
No amount of owning any amount of things and no amount of professional success will provide you the fulfillment in life as living what your authentic self is.
And I just want to remind everybody before we go, vote yes on 10-1.
Yes, vote yes on 10-1. And
I'm actually really excited because I'm going to try and pull off with the Virginia Beach version of Monopoly a video that easily explains why you should vote yes on 10-1 while using the most loved and hated game of all, Monopoly, but it's the Virginia Beach version of it. So I'm super excited to do that. So
vote yes on 10-1 if you want to know why. Check out
Tattooed Maven.
Follow Tattooed Maven. Check out those videos, or feel free to log into VPAP and see how many the big developers that don't care about your interest whatsoever are pumping money
into every vote count
into the campaign against the 10-1 system.
Yep.
And just ask yourself if all of these companies and developers who don't have your best interests at heart, why are they fighting so hard to get rid of the 10-1 system?
That's right. All right. Till next time.
Till next time.
That's it for this week's dose of national dysfunction.
If you learned something, got pissed off, or just laughed through the rage, do us a favor. Share this episode with someone who still believes that it can't happen here.
Follow us, subscribe, and hit us up on socials, because if you aren't at the table, you are on the menu.
This is the Dissent Agenda. Stay informed, stay loud, and stay in the fight.